Welcome to the story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and support me. As the galaxy lay in the iron grip of the ruthless empire, humanity found itself on the brink of extinction. The once vibrant worlds of Earth and its colonies had been reduced to ruins, their people scattered across distant star systems, hiding in the shadows from the relentless patrols of the Empire's fleet. In the depths of despair, the remnants of humanity clung to the faintest hope, praying for a miracle that could turn the tide of a war they had long since lost. Captain Ethan Miles, a man hardened by countless battles and the weight of endless failure, stood at the helm of the Perseverance, the last hope for a dying race. His face, marked by deep lines of exhaustion, was set in a grim mask as he reviewed the mission briefing. The holographic display flickered before him, outlining the impossible task that lay ahead: infiltrate a heavily fortified enemy research station orbiting a gas giant in the Chaos system, retrieve critical data on the Empire's latest weaponry, and, above all, protect a secret that could change the fate of humanity. Dr. Olivia Drake, the lead scientist on the team and the very person who had discovered the secret that could save them all, stood nearby, her expression one of quiet determination. She had found it, dark matter energy, a new form of power that defied everything they knew about physics. It was the kind of discovery that could tip the scales in their favor, but only if they could keep it out of the Empire's hands. Captain, the team is ready, Olivia said, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. We'll need to move quickly once we reach the station. The Empire's patrols are intensifying in this sector. Ethan nodded, his mind racing through the details of the mission. We can't afford any mistakes. The moment we're detected, it's over. He turned to his crew, each member vital to the success of the operation. Lieutenant Marcus Reed, their pilot, was already at his station, fingers poised over the controls, his sharp eyes scanning the data streaming across the screen. Sergeant Ava Cole, the team's explosives expert, was checking her gear with meticulous precision, her expression as hard as the weapons she carried. Ethan knew them all too well, knew their strengths, their weaknesses, and the burdens they each carried. But this mission, more than any other, would test them to their limits. If they failed, there would be no second chance. The Perseverance slipped through the void of space, a shadow among shadows, as it approached the Chaos system. The gas giant loomed large before them, its swirling storms of orange and red casting an eerie light on the research station that orbited it. The station was a massive structure, bristling with defensive turrets and patrolled by squadrons of fighters. To anyone else, it would have seemed impenetrable, but Ethan wasn't just anyone. Reed, take us in, low and slow, Ethan ordered, his voice calm and authoritative. We'll need to match their orbit exactly to avoid detection. Copy that, Captain, Reed replied, his hands moving with practiced ease as he guided the ship into the station's orbit, matching its speed and trajectory with precision. The tension in the cockpit was palpable as the minutes stretched into hours. The Perseverance crept closer to the station, using the gas giant's electromagnetic field to mask its approach. Every second brought them nearer to the point of no return. Station defenses are active, but they haven't detected us, Reed reported, his voice a low murmur. Ethan allowed himself a small sigh of relief. Good. Let's keep it that way. As they neared the docking port, Olivia stepped forward, her eyes focused on the holographic display. We need to be in and out within 30 minutes. Any longer, and they'll notice the energy spike from our extraction. 30 minutes. Got it, Ethan said. He turned to Ava, who had finished her preparations and was now standing at attention, ready for whatever came next. Ava, you're with me. Reed, stay with the ship. If anything goes wrong, get out of here and alert the fleet. Reed gave a curt nod, though the concern in his eyes was evident. Just make sure it doesn't come to that, Captain. Ethan forced a smile. I'll do my best. The team moved quickly, exiting the ship and making their way into the station through a maintenance hatch that Olivia had identified as their best entry point. The corridors were dimly lit, the hum of the station's systems echoing around them. They moved in silence, their footsteps barely audible as they navigated the labyrinthine passageways. As they approached the central control room, the air grew colder, the silence more oppressive. Ethan could feel the tension mounting within the team, each of them acutely aware of the stakes. When they finally reached the control room, they found it deserted, save for the soft glow of the consoles. Olivia immediately set to work, her fingers flying over the controls as she accessed the station's mainframe. Ethan kept watch, his weapon at the ready, while Ava positioned herself near the entrance, her sharp eyes scanning the hallway for any sign of trouble. "Got it," Olivia whispered, her voice filled with urgency. "I've located the data, but there's a lot more here than we anticipated. It's going to take longer to extract everything." "How much longer?" Ethan asked, his tone clipped. "Another 20 minutes, at least." Ethan cursed under his breath. "We don't have 20 minutes. We don't have a choice," Olivia shot back, her focus never wavering from the screen. "This information is crucial. If we leave without it, the Empire will crush us before we even have a chance to fight back." Ethan knew she was right, but every instinct told him they were running out of time. "Do what you have to do, but be quick about it." As Olivia continued to work, Ethan's thoughts drifted to the dark matter energy that had brought them here. It was a discovery that could change everything, a power source so potent it could fuel weapons capable of destroying entire fleets. But it was also dangerous, volatile, and unpredictable. They had no way of knowing what might happen if it fell into the wrong hands. Suddenly, the control room's lights flickered, and a warning alarm blared through the station. Ethan's heart skipped a beat as he realized they'd been found. "Reed, we've been compromised. Get ready for a hot extraction." Ethan barked into his comm, "On it, Captain." "I'm bringing the ship around now," Reed's voice crackled back. Ethan turned to Olivia, who was furiously typing away at the console. "Olivia, we need to move, now." "I'm almost done," she replied, her voice strained. "Just a few more seconds." Ava, who had been keeping watch at the entrance, suddenly stiffened. "We've got company," she hissed, raising her weapon. Ethan followed her gaze and saw a squad of Imperial soldiers advancing down the corridor, their weapons trained on the control room. "Hold them off as long as you can," Ethan ordered, moving to cover Olivia as she finished the data extraction. The control room erupted into chaos as the first shots were fired. Ava returned fire with deadly accuracy, taking down several soldiers before they could even react. But the Empire's forces were relentless, and more soldiers poured into the corridor, overwhelming the team with sheer numbers. "We can't hold them much longer," Ava shouted over the din of battle. Ethan's mind raced as he weighed their options. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and running out of time. There was only one choice left. "Olivia, we're out of time. Abort the extraction and get to the ship," he yelled, his voice tinged with desperation. "No. We're so close." Olivia protested, but Ethan wasn't listening. He grabbed her by the arm and pulled her away from the console, dragging her toward the exit. Ava covered their retreat, her weapon blazing as she provided suppressing fire. But as they neared the maintenance hatch, an explosion rocked the station, sending debris and shrapnel flying through the air. Ava was thrown to the ground, her weapon clattering out of reach. "Ava!" Ethan shouted, but there was no time to help her. He pushed Olivia through the hatch and turned back, his heart pounding in his chest. Ava struggled to her feet, blood streaming down her face, but her eyes were clear and determined. "Go, Captain. I'll hold them off." "No, we're not leaving you behind." Ethan protested, but Ava shook her head, a sad smile on her lips. "Someone has to make sure they don't follow you." "Go, Ethan. Finish the mission." Ethan hesitated for a brief moment, but he knew Ava was right. With a heavy heart, he turned and climbed through the hatch, sealing it behind him. As the hatch closed, he caught one last glimpse of Ava, her weapon in hand, ready to face the Empire's forces alone. Ethan and Olivia raced back to the Perseverance, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they had left a comrade behind. As they boarded the ship, Reed was already in the pilot's seat, the engines roaring to life, "We're leaving now." Reed shouted over the comm, and the Perseverance shot away from the station, narrowly avoiding the Empire's patrols as they made their escape. As the ship sped away from the cow's system, Ethan sank into his seat, his body trembling with exhaustion and grief. They had completed the mission, but the cost had been high, too high. "Did we get what we needed?" Ethan asked, his voice hoarse. Olivia nodded, her eyes filled with sorrow. "We got it. But, was it worth it?" Ethan didn't answer. He didn't know if it had been worth it. All he knew was that they had done what they had to do, and now, they had to live with the consequences. The data they had retrieved, combined with the dark matter energy, would give humanity a fighting chance, a chance to strike back against the Empire and reclaim what had been taken from them. But the price they had paid weighed heavily on Ethan's soul. As the Perseverance drifted through the void, the stars outside seemed dimmer, the galaxy darker than before. But amidst the darkness, there was a spark of hope that had been ignited by their actions. And as long as that spark remained, humanity would continue to fight. Ethan closed his eyes, letting the silence of space envelop him. The war was far from over, but for the first time in a long while, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: hope.